Hi there, thank you for joining me. This is Catrin from 3Ps. Welcome. This video is about what might block you in success in your training. I'm a personal trainer and a neuro-linguistic programmer, master practitioner, which means I understand the mind-body connection, and part of my job is to help you, if you are facing a block or not getting progress, to understand what is causing that and try and overcome that. So I thought I'd do a video on if you are grappling with that, what actually is going on with you if you are finding that you've set goals that you just aren't achieving. So this video is going to talk about what the blocks are and how you discover those blocks and how you overcome those blocks. So let's start with what the blocks might be. So you've set yourself some goals. Maybe those goals are about weight loss, or the goals are about achieving a certain amount of muscle mass increase, and you're just finding that you can't get to the gym, or you're not training well at the gym. Your heart isn't in it, whatever it may be. So what is causing that? Why have you got a conflict between what you think you want to achieve and what you actually want to achieve? Now, the answer to that is generally because you haven't got clarity about the why. So you want these goals, but you don't know why. And it's the why that sustains you through the more difficult times when, maybe it's raining outside, you don't want to go to the gym, or it's dark, you don't really want to get up and go to the gym before work. It's those sorts of situations where you need a really strong why, so that when you wake up very early and you're thinking about getting out of bed, you don't have that debate, because you simply say, I'm doing this because, and that why is going to be something more meaningful than I'm going to gain X pounds of muscle, I'm going to lose X pounds of body fat. It's got to be because, and it may be, for example, because I want this summer to look the best I've ever looked, or it could be because I want to compete in a physique or a bodybuilding competition, or it might be because my 40th birthday is coming up and I want to look the best I can, or it could be, my wedding is coming up and I want to fit into my, my wedding dress, and so I want to go down 2 sizes. But those are very strong whys that are linked to things, more broad things happening in your life. If your why is simply, well, just because I want, the likelihood is that you won't get out of bed to get to the gym, or if it's raining, you won't go out for a run. So it's really important that you have a strong why. That's the first thing. The second major thing I find with clients is that if they're not achieving their goals, even when they have a strong why, it's because actually they've got a conflict inside themselves. And often that conflict is what's called imposter syndrome. And what that means is that in their heart, they don't believe they deserve it. I'll give you a classic example of this, is if you see people who've lost a lot of weight and they still walk around in fat clothes. So they walk around in the sorts of clothes which cover their body. They might actually be physically too big for them, or they might even have bought the clothes in the right size, but they just cover them, which says that they haven't accepted that they have a different body. And often if you ask these people, they probably would visualize themselves still as being slightly overweight, even though actually they've lost all the weight they need to lose. So we've got an aircraft coming over here. So it's called imposter syndrome, as I said. Now, imposter syndrome can apply in any area of life. So it can apply in a fitness situation where you've set yourself some goals which you're not achieving. It could be that you've got yourself in your career into a job that actually in your heart of hearts you think, it's too, you don't deserve to be at this level. It's surprisingly common with people who are at board level. I used to do a lot of work in the city, and working with very senior board members, it was very common that actually in a quiet reflective moment they would admit to you that they are very surprised they've got to where they've got to, and they think at any moment they're going to get discovered as being not good enough, so they carry that around in their head all the time. Now, if we put that back into a fitness context, you may well have a loop in your brain that you're either aware of or maybe not strictly aware of, which is actually saying to you things like, I don't deserve to be thin, or I don't have the sort of body that can build muscle, or I'm always going to be skinny, I'm never going to be muscly, or I don't deserve to look in great shape, I haven't got the commitment for it. Whatever it is, you've got something in your head on a loop which is talking you out of your goals. Now, how do you handle that? Well, how you handle that first is to get that out. So you've got to acknowledge it's happening. And the way that you would do that is you would write down what that loop is telling you. And I know it's quite an uncomfortable thing I'm suggesting, but actually you'll find you'll have a huge feeling of relief if you actually get it onto paper. So what I would do in that situation is find somewhere quiet on your own. You don't need an audience for this. And you need to actually acknowledge there's a loop going on in your brain, and you need to write down those statements. And it is quite distressing, but just think about it. These are things you're saying to yourself. No one else is saying them to you. You're saying them to yourself, and you need to get to a point where you stop saying those to yourself. But the starting point is to know what you're saying. So you write those all down. Once you've got those statements, you then have to look at those statements and you have to find the counter for them. So for example, if you've got a loop in your head saying, I'm always going to be skinny, I'm never going to build muscle, you need to create a counter statement, which is, if I train hard, eat well and rest, I will build muscle. If I train hard, eat well and rest, I will build muscle. So you're going to create counter statements to all those limiting statements that are in your brain. And again, I would suggest that you write those down, because you need to internalize them. And what you're going to end up is a list of the limiting statements that are currently in your head, going around on a loop, and a list of the counter statements that are married to those limiting statements. And then what you're going to do is practice. So you're going to find some time each week where you're going to choose some of these limiting statements and you're going to deliberately say them out loud, and then come out with a counter statement. So you're going to acknowledge that you've got a loop in your brain that says, for example, I can never be in great physical shape because I wasn't meant to be. And you're going to take that limiting statement, you're going to marry it with the positive statement you've already decided on. So your positive statement might be, I deserve to be in great shape. So you need to practice these. You need to externalize what it is that's going on in your brain. You need to practice the affirmative or the positive statement that goes with them. I would suggest that a really good time to do that is just before you train, because it will put you in a really good mental state to be able to go into that gym and really train. I promise you, if you do this for a week, you will feel so much more aligned with your goals. It's all about removing blocks and allowing your why, which you really have already decided you've got, to shine through. I use this a lot with clients, and I find it really, really helpful in just getting them aligned. If I can see that we're going to train, there's a mental loop that says, no, I'm not in the mood, I'm not in the mood, or they just don't feel like they're feeling it, then the important thing is to try and get that out. And I will often say to them, right, let's just stop a minute, let's have a look at one of your limiting statements, and let's look at an empowering statement that goes with it. And that's what I do with my clients. But you can do that yourself. You don't need a personal trainer to do that. You just need to have, I would suggest you put your limiting statements and your positive statements somewhere handy, in the back of your diary, for example, somewhere in your training manual, whatever it is, and you make sure that you are looking at those limiting statements and you are deliberately mentally inserting your positive statements whenever you feel them. Try that. Let me know how you get on. I'd be really interested. Certainly I find with clients it's really, really effective. Post me a comment below this video. Obviously give me a rank for the video. You can also send me a comment on Facebook. Our Facebook page is at facebook.com/3Ps Media. Please do subscribe. It'd be lovely to have you. This site is all about positive change, fitness, nutrition, positive mindset. I'm a personal trainer, coach, and an NLP coach, so I've got the skills to help you. It'll be such a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye.